What do the most successful roofing companies have in common? On the flip side, what are the commonalities among the companies that continue to struggle year after year? Today's guest, my friend Diego Dante, dives into those answers and a few more nuggets inside this episode. Diego runs RoofCon, which is one of the largest roofing conferences every year in the industry, and he has exposure and conversations and relationships with hundreds of different roofing companies of all shapes and sizes all over the country. So he's able to hop on the Nailed It show today and provide us with some inside knowledge as far as what he sees the common ingredients of success are. We also dive into a little bit of a B2B lead generation strategy that he's been using for years that you could adopt in your roofing or contracting company as well. I've known Diego for a few years. He's a great guy, runs a great event, and I'm sure that you'll get a lot of enjoyment and some nuggets out of this episode, my friend Diego. Before we dig into all those nuggets, give the audience a little bit of a background. For any freaks out there who don't know who you are, there's probably only a couple people that don't know who you are. Just give us a little bit of a background as to Diego and what you do.
I think people see my face, but maybe they don't exactly know what I do. Yeah, so Diego Dante here out of Greenville, South Carolina. My dad was in construction. Actually, that was my first job out of high school, was working in a framing crew, and I ended up getting fired from there and swore that I'd never go into construction again. Ended up going into sales and marketing, worked a marketing job for 7 years, and then after that, met Hunter Ballou, and he somehow convinced me to take a all-commission job selling for him, and then that led into RoofCon. We had RoofCon 1 right before I started with him, actually. So he did RoofCon 1 in Nashville, which I believe you attended that one.
Yep, I was there, baby.
And that was 2019. I actually joined the team right after that RoofCon and came into, we put together a small team, 2 people, to put together RoofCon 2 in Houston. And from there, we've just been, making it happen here for RoofCon, and just had RoofCon 5 last year, and we had 5,200 people register for the show. So been growing steadily the last couple years. But yeah, that's all I do now full time. Put aside everything else, stop selling roofs, stop doing everything else, and just solely focusing on getting people to RoofCon.
Nice. All right, we'll get into that in just a second. I want to back up to a little bit of maybe a leadership nugget there. So you had a career, and Hunter convinced you to take a commission-only job in construction, which you swore out of already. So was that like Hunter painting the picture, painting the vision, or like how was he able to do that?
Hunter sold me on the dream. And this is funny. We laugh on it now, okay? But Hunter told me, he came in. I came in that first day to meet him, and he was like, "Hey, we have this foundation, we're doing stuff for the kids, and we're helping the kids do this and this and that." And I think he oversold me on the foundation, because he was going into schools and talking to the kids about all the stuff that they were doing. A lot of it was still in his head, and he was wanting to make it happen. So I ended up coming in, and now I'm vice president of the foundation, which is exciting. So that's something actually I didn't even talk about. So I'm vice president of the Revolt Foundation, but that was a big thing. That was the biggest selling point for me, was like, these guys are actually doing stuff in the community. The other job that I've had up until now that I worked at for 7 years, like, I'm just a number in there's 5,000 people that work here, and I'm just one of those people. And this company actually cares about the community. So that sold me on coming to work here. I didn't care that it was all commission. I didn't care about how much money I was going to make. None of that. It was just, I'm coming here. These people are making a difference in the community.
That's cool, man. I know Hunter's obviously a huge visionary. I mean, he had the skill set or the vision to sell you on something that didn't even exist yet. And, that can go both ways, right? Because if you're not ethical, then that's like snake oil salesman, right? Which there's a lot of people out there like that, but he's an ethical guy and had that vision that came to fruition thanks to your help. I didn't even know that. So that's really cool.
Yeah, and to this day, like, all the other stuff, like RoofCon's cool, roofing's cool, like, whatever. But the Revolt Foundation is something I'm deeply, deeply passionate about. And, the other things that this allows us to do, like there's different things like 100 Mile June and, different things that we're doing for adoptions and this and that. Like that stuff is more like I just do all the other stuff so that I can make these more fun and exciting things happen.
Yeah, that makes sense. You got to find out, as a leader, you got to find out what motivates, what lights people's fire, what gets them, what fills their cup, and focus on that, right? And we've both talked to thousands of roofing company owners at this point. It's like, well, most of them don't really care about roofs. Like they're in the people business. They care about building a business and being involved in their community and helping others build amazing lives and careers and things like that. So there's way more to it than what you're actually selling or what you're actually doing. So on that note, that's a good natural transition into RoofCon, because RoofCon is not you and I both been to a million conferences, some good, some bad, some just okay. I think most of them are probably just okay, not very inspiring, but RoofCon's different. I was definitely at the first one. I've been at all of them except the one during COVID. But yeah, it's different, right? It's about making an impact. It's about leadership. It's about legacy. So tell us a little bit about RoofCon. I know most of the people maybe in our audience know of it. Maybe people kind of dismiss it as, just another one of the million events out there, just trying to make a buck or something like that. So tell people about RoofCon and why it's so special.
Yeah, for me, I describe it to everyone as this is a leadership event for the roofing industry. At the end of the day, we have vendors, we have a trade show, we do the breakout sessions to talk on all the different things. But when you go to that general session at the end of the day, we're going to focus on leadership development, because that's the thing that makes us different from everyone else. Everyone else is going to bring you in and they're going to talk about cool stuff. Like, I've learned a lot of cool stuff going to some of the other shows and talking through like how to become a better salesperson and how to do different things like that, how to sell solar and blah, blah, blah. But we've just really started. And it's funny because the first few years, the general session was the whole time, right? Like it was going on the whole time. And now we've condensed it and condensed it and condensed it to where it's like, it's the last part of the day from 2 to 5 p.m. And we're just going to talk on leadership. And our goal at the end of the day is to develop millions of leaders. And we're going to impact the lives of millions of people who are going to go on to impact the lives of billions of people. And so that's the goal. And so we do that through RoofCon at a large scale in the roofing industry.
It was 2022? John Maxwell? 21, 22?
Yeah, Maxwell spoke in 21 and 22.
All right, so one of those years, I was front row for Maxwell's keynote. It was impactful for me, maybe because I was like so close to him, like physically, he was spitting on me while he was talking, kind of thing. And I remember sitting there, and I've never read a Maxwell book. I know he's got a million of them. I've heard his videos and things like that. But like this whole concept of leadership, which I'd always heard about, but I'd always been kind of like I'd not considered myself a leader, just more of like a hard worker, right? But I was at the point in my career, I was like, all right, we're starting to build our team. Like, I really got to lean into this leadership thing. I got to like really study this and build out that skill set. I don't think I consider myself a natural leader, but I need to be intentional about building that skill set. And I've been focusing on that every week for the past couple of years. And I think that, I've definitely developed those skills. We've been growing our team, building a team of leaders. And I can see that paying dividends for not just myself and our team, but the people that we serve. I'm not giving myself a pat on the back. I'm giving you guys the props for that, the credit for that, because you don't need to absorb every single thing in a conference. Like I took that one nugget away. That was the same one where Ed Milet spoke and a couple other guys. Like they were great. I just took that one nugget away. I was like, I have to become a better leader for the people around me, and I implemented that, and it's made a world of difference. So thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. Let me ask you this. How do you feel it's impacted you to then develop leaders within your organization? How has that been different for your organization to develop other leaders?
I go away for a week at a time and don't pick up my phone at all, and everything runs smoothly. Next year, I'm taking a month-long sabbatical where I'm not going to be online for a month. I could actually do that this year. I have 100% confidence that would be completely fine, and the business will grow. And I come back and it's just a normal Monday, right? It's not like I'm putting out fires and fixing things. And I don't say that to brag, but I say that to kind of open up people's eyes to that possibility. Because just a couple of years ago, that would not have been possible. Now it's like, yeah, I'm planning this sabbatical for next summer, but like I can do it this summer if I really wanted to. part of it is I don't really know what I do during that month. So I kind of got to plan some activities, right? Yeah. I mean, that's a big part of it. Yeah.
Well, and that's what everyone wants in the business too. Like you start a business and you do it to have more freedom, right? But a lot of people don't take the steps to actually make that happen. And it's fun because I remember in 2021 too, we went to that Revolt retreat in Utah. And I remember you saying specifically, you saw Hunter sitting on the couch on his phone. And you're like, I remember in 2019 seeing him all stressed out over RoofCon. And now, in comparison, the next event I go to a year and a half later, he's just sitting on the couch and doesn't even know what the next event is because you put people in place to make it happen. And, and again, this isn't a pat on the back to me or anything like that, but it's like Hunter and I have lunch one day a week, and that's it. Like, Hunter is not involved with RoofCon besides giving me guidance and direction over one lunch a week. And he's 2 doors down from here. And that's the whole point of it. Like, you develop leaders. And when I came into the organization, I didn't think of myself as a leader. I was just another employee, but I've worked on those skills myself to the point where now we have leaders in the organization and Hunter is able to step back and not have to do a lot of those things.
That's huge. And he's able to create more impact. He's got a bunch of other things going on, as a lot of us know. So yeah, that's huge. So who comes to RoofCon? What type of people?
A lot of it is the smaller contractors who are looking to grow their business because I feel like a lot of the bigger conferences is the people that are the more established. And those people, a lot of those come to RoofCon also. But if you were to survey, 100 people, 80% of those people are going to be small contractors. They're trying to figure out, how do I run the business side, right? And so they're coming to events like ours. And the cool thing is we don't really lead them in with the leadership and personal development stuff. But while they're there, we definitely hit them with that. And then they're bought in and they're coming every year after that. So that's been really cool to see that as well. And then they start scaling and they start, we've seen some people that have come in that are, come every single year. People that also, like, Brookins Construction, where they've been coming every single year and, since 2020, and we've seen them grow. And there are a lot of people like that. It's really cool, though, seeing the smaller guys come in, apply the things little by little, get involved with the community and just scale their businesses.
Yeah, it's cool to see, the same owners coming year after year. And like, one year they'll come with 4 people. Next year, there's 12 people on their team. And you're like, all right, cool. These guys are doing something right. And that's a majority of the folks. But then you got, some of the other guys are kind of peacocking around with their team behind them. And there's maybe some more ego there. And you're like, maybe that, I don't know that that's really going to last. I wish the best for everyone, but.
Well, Dylan Mullins, our friend Dylan, I think he was in the running for biggest team at RoofCon. And just a few years ago, it was just him and his brother there. And so, I mean, he brought a ton of people to RoofCon. So it's super cool seeing that. And to your point, there's going to be a-holes there too, just like at every other conference, but we try to minimize those.
You can't filter them all out. Yeah. Okay, cool. So the speakers that you get, I mean, obviously I've been there. We're talking about leadership. We're talking about overcoming adversity. What else do you look for when bringing in speakers and filling out your panels?
Yeah. I mean, people that are going to help you scale your business, people that are going to talk on different, we also try to hit up the topics that people want to hear about. Like, people have been taught, there's a lot of buzz on AI, so we're going to do some stuff on that. And I feel like maybe the buzz has started to die a little bit on solar, but a few years back, that was the big thing, is adding solar. So we've done a lot of content around that. And so we try to find the hot topics too and hit on those, so it's worthwhile for the people that are coming to the show.
Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely. Yeah, I was on the I moderated the tech and AI panel last year. I learned some things from those smart guys on that panel. So that was a lot of fun. Switching gears, Diego, you obviously, similar to me, probably you more so, talk to lots and lots of roofing companies, right? Selling them tickets, getting them more information about the event. seeing these guys year after year. I know you're involved in Revolt as well as I am. Anytime that, I get someone on the show that has that much like experience with a variety of different type of companies, I like to ask about trends that you see, right? Not trends, commonalities, right? So you look at the companies that are successful, that are building, that are profitable, that have great cultures. What are some of the things that they have in common? And then the flip side of that, you see some companies that kind of struggle year after year, never really get traction. Like, what are some of the things that those guys might be missing or some blind spots they might be having?
I think a lot of people downplay, and we're going to keep going back to the same topic, but I think a lot of people downplay the importance of leadership in their companies, where I think a lot of, like, I saw a post recently that was, what are some of the biggest pitfalls, or why do roofing companies fail within the first couple of years, all this stuff. And I looked through the comments and I was like, everything just falls on leadership.
It does.
Because if you have strong leadership at the top, you're developing leaders along the way, you're helping the people in your downline, with leadership skills, and like, you are a transformational leader yourself, where you're setting the vision and you're keeping people accountable, and you are, you see the issues before they come up. Like, those are all leadership skills. Like, if you literally just focus on developing as a leader and developing other leaders, literally everything else will fall into place. Again, I don't hear that as people saying, oh, I need to develop as a leader. But when I hear people's struggles and the things that they're going through, the first thing that comes to my mind is you just need to work on developing as a leader. So that's what I think is like one of the biggest trends that I see. And I don't think people even realize how important or how big of a deal that is.
No, they don't. And, you're younger. So like, I didn't know that at your age. I'm probably like 10 years older than you. Dude, I have not seen that be disproven yet. And that's probably John Maxwell's most famous line. And he's got like a million, but everything rises and falls on leadership. And when you like boil it down, it might not look like that, like you said, on the surface, right? It might be like, oh, my sales guys suck, or, the market's weird, or the economy is kind of funky right now. Like, whatever it might be. I can't keep good people. Like, when you dig in, it really all does come down to leadership. And I think a lot of people need to take more ownership. That's one of our core values from Jocko, extreme ownership. And, you can take ownership in every situation. All right, my people keep leaving me. Well, why are they leaving? Or our profit margins aren't where they need to be. Well, why is that? It's because we're tolerating less than some kind of standard. So
I think if anyone wants a good book to read and you haven't read the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, I think you should definitely read that, because that just sets the standard for how to develop as a leader. And like, here's 21 things to work on that you can work on to develop as a leader. And one of those is the law of the lid, that says, like, basically, if you are a 7 on leadership, or if you're a 7 just in general, like, your team's not going to be any better than a 6. And so if you want to better your team, you got to better yourself.
I love that. You know what? I'm gonna read that, because I still have not read a Maxwell book. I don't know why. I've read a million books.
Well, if you don't read any other one, just read that one.
Yeah. All right. What's he got? Like 90 books, or almost 100 books by now?
Yeah. I mean, I've read like 3 of them, but that's the best one.
All right. Nice. That sums it up. Yeah. That lid thing, I think about that all the time, not in that terminology, but like, I think about like who I need to be the leader for my team. And like, that comes down to the decisions that I make on the weekend, as far as like, if I'm getting enough rest, if I'm reading, if I'm like taking care of my body and eating well and not drinking and things like that. Like, I'm thinking about that Saturday night. I'm thinking about how, like, what I put into my body or how I work out is going to affect my level of leadership. Because we got some studs on our team. And if I'm not on my A game, I'm not saying they're going to walk out the door, but if my lid is, if I'm putting a lid on them, then they're going to get frustrated. So,
well, and this is why I've not stopped selling. Like, I've been selling here since day one, and I don't plan to stop selling, because it doesn't matter how much other stuff I have going on. Like, I have to be the example for the sales team. So I have to get as many sales as, and it doesn't even mean that I'm going to I don't have enough time to be the top salesperson, but I'm not going to be at the bottom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. that's why I've not stopped selling, because I want to be I have to set the tone, and I have to show them that I'm bringing in as much as everyone else.
Right. You got to show them what's possible. Sometimes, if they're new, they might not know what's possible, right? They have their own belief lid. All right. So leadership, that kind of covers like both sides of that coin. Like, what do some of the successful companies have in common, and where do companies struggle? Leadership would be the answer for both of those. And I get it, because like if you told me that 3 or 4 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, I kind of hear you, Diego, but you don't understand.
But I need to generate more leads. Yeah.
Yes, you don't understand. Our company's different. My situation's different. My market's different. We need more leads. I'll get to that leadership later. I need to get more leads right now and, pay the bills or whatever it might be. So some of that comes from experience. And, what do they say? The teacher appears when the student is ready. I think that's true. Yeah. So I don't think that's a Maxwell quote, but maybe we'll give him credit for that. So
yeah, I haven't heard that one, but I like it.
All right. So speaking of selling, again, another natural transition. We got two experienced podcasters here on the show today. So we got natural transitions going on. You mentioned you never stop selling, and a lot of that, or all of that, I guess, is B2B sales, because you're filling up RoofCon with 5,000 people and a couple hundred vendors and negotiating with, the venue and things like that. So what are some of the things that have worked for you guys over the years? What kind of tips do you want to share with the audience in the context of, hey, if you're looking to go after, maybe more commercial work, more B2B work, make more B2B connections just for your networking purposes? What are some of the things that you've seen that work for you?
One of the interesting things is, like, when I was doing marketing before I even got into roofing, I was really developing B2B leads for a company that I was working for. And so that just seemed like the natural progression. Even getting into roofing was like, how do I develop, these partnerships that are going to get me leads and all this stuff? And everything kind of falls into, like, for us right now with RoofCon, like you said, we got to get vendors, we got to get attendees, and everything falls into like one of three ways of lead generation. And I think we might have talked about this before on the podcast that we did on mine, was the trifecta of lead generation: your outbound, your inbound, and your referrals, right? And I think a lot of companies will really focus on, let's get really good at one of these things. Like, you got companies that are killers at door to door, so that's going to be your outbound, or maybe it's, cold calling or whatever else. And then you have some companies that are really, really good at the inbound, and that might be like your digital marketing. You've got people that are searching for X in your area or in the field, that whatever it is that you do. So you're going to go out and you're going to capture those people. And you're going to have your referrals, which is, obviously like using the people that already know you to be able to get you more people. So what we've been working on the last 5 years is like, okay, everyone that's good at what they do is good at one of those two things, maybe good at two things, but there's not a lot of people that are doing all three of them really, really well. So that's been our goal. Like, how do we get really, really good at all three of these things? So at any given point, we have to have all three of those things going. So we have stuff. Look, when I look at outbound, we have an outbound team that's constantly calling new people. We're doing, different emails and text campaigns and blah, blah, blah. Like, we're finding new people. We're constantly scouting for more data, and we're constantly getting out in front of people. I've had some calls this week to start doing direct mail for roofing companies. Like, I'm finding everyone and anyone and everyone, we're getting in front of their face, doing ads to get in front of their face, all the stuff. And then as far as inbound, we're working on a lot of like Google ads. So if they're searching for roofing conventions or roofing conferences, we're getting in front of their faces and we're capturing that as much as possible, trying to get in front of the right people that are searching for us. And then we've got different affiliate programs that we work on for the referral piece to be able to, get in front of, like, if you got contractor dynamics and your clients, I'm assuming, are going to go to RoofCon, how do I work with you to make sure that your clients are coming to RoofCon? And so when I look at those three things, I will say there is one that, I don't know if you've read $100 Million Leads by Alex Hormozy.
Hey, Les, brother.
Yeah.
On my desk.
He's got it broken down a little bit differently. So he's also got in there like content and different things like that. So I haven't had that one in my trifecta yet, but I'm starting to think of like, how can we utilize content to be able to get more followers? But even if you just look at the three of those, let me now apply this to a roofing company. Let's say, okay, I'm running a roofing company. How can I start finding more avenues to be able to generate B2B leads, right? So let's start with outbound. So what are some of the things that you can do for outbound? Well, for one, you could have people literally knocking doors of businesses in your area to go out and find the right people and starting to, get people in the funnel, starting to talk to people, go into things like chambers of commerce meetings. Like if you're not in your chamber of commerce, you need to go sign up today, because that's where the decision makers and the people that are, trying to get involved in the community for the businesses go sign up. That's where they're going. So finding whatever ways of, if you wanted to do mailers, you want to talk to people, you get in front of their faces. Then you move over into inbound. That mainly is going to fall into the digital marketing. Like if you're not running Google ads, like you're having Google local service ads, Google, you're setting up your Google business profile, working on your SEO, so that way you can pop up when people are searching for roofers in my area or whatever. But having a solid inbound strategy, and that's something that you guys, with what you guys are doing with coaching people on, how to run their marketing, I think you guys are great at teaching people how to do a lot of that stuff. And then having a referral program of some sort, whatever that looks like. I think people like, Matt Danskin has a great program for, insurance agents, and there's people that are doing stuff for like instant kickbacks or whatever. But whatever that looks like, have a program for your referral partners. And on the B2B side, setting that up for, who are the people that know those people? Like if you go to a chamber of commerce and you're getting partners there of like, hey, when you talk to another company and, they need a roof, make sure that, you give them some sort of incentive for them to tell people about you, right? If you could figure out a way to do all three of those things, you're going to crush it, because most people, like I said, are typically really good at one of those things. And some people are really good at two of those things, but most of the people are not good at all three of those things.
I love the way you broke that down. So one of the commonalities that makes roofing companies successful is that they have systems for everything, including marketing. That's where Contractor Dynamics comes in as a marketing training company. What we do all day, every day is we train roofing companies on how to build and run their own marketing so that they can achieve the results that they want to build the businesses and lives of their dreams. If you want to learn more about our marketing training programs and courses specifically for roofing companies, head on over to contractordynamics.com. Check out what we have there. Book a call with Elizabeth and let's level up together. I'm writing down notes because I guess we talked about it another time, like you said, but I'm one of those guys that needs to read the same book over and over, hear the same thing. So I would say naturally I'm applying this to our business, right? So we're really good at inbound, do zero outbound, and referrals were actually one of our rocks this quarter is to refine, actually build a referral strategy, because we get referrals, thankfully, but we don't have any sort of proactive strategy for that or incentives or anything like that. So, man, it makes you realize how much opportunity is there. And maybe, as a business owner, you're listening to this, you're watching this, you're like, all right, like that makes sense. But like, dude, I'm running my business. I'm out selling. I'm doing this, that, and the other thing. How do I actually make this happen? Do you have any recommendations for how to implement that? I mean, would it be, hiring more people, more bodies, talking to the roofing company owner that's already working 14 hours a day? They understand the importance of this stuff, but they're like, yeah, I don't have the time of day to do it,
Well, the important question, I think, is what are you good at and what do you like to do? Because for me, I really enjoy sales and marketing, but there's other parts of the organization that I'm just not great at. Like I don't need to be building out the CRM, and I don't need to be doing graphic design. As much as I enjoy doing those things, it's just not worth my time to do it, right?
Yeah.
And there's a handful of other things there where at one point I was focus too much on some of these other things. But then I thought to myself, what are the things that I'm good at and that I enjoy doing? And I think that's part of the EOS thing too, which we used to run on EOS, but that's one of the questions there. It's like having you working on in the right quadrant.
Yep, that's delegate and elevate quadrants. Yeah, what do I love? What do I love, and what am I great at? You want to focus in that one upper left-hand quadrant.
Right. And so that was one of those things where we used to have a sales manager and a marketing manager, to where now I've put in people in other seats to where I'm running the organization, but I'm also working on leading sales and marketing because that's what I'm good at and that's what I like to do. So to answer your question, if you're having issues and you're not able to work on some of the stuff, the question is like, is that actually what you want to be working on? Because if it is, then you need to put people in place to be able to go to the job sites and do all those things so that you can work on the things that you know you need to be working on. Or maybe you are really good at being on site and like doing the production side, so you need to hire some sort of revenue manager or sales manager or someone to be able to work on implementing these lead generation strategies, because you don't want to be spending the time working on these things that you don't enjoy doing or you're not good at.
Dude, totally. That's such great advice. I mean, people need to hear that over and over, because like we as entrepreneurs, sometimes we think we're superheroes where we can do it all. And hey, at the very beginning, yeah, we do it all. We stay up late, we wake up early, we, drink energy drinks, whatever it takes to just do it all. But like as soon as possible, we need to get off that. And we cannot do it all. Another book is Essentialism by Greg McKeown. And he says that we could do anything, but not everything. And that's such a big distinction right there. You can't do everything, especially if you want to grow, if you want to build a business where, like we talked about before, you have some level of freedom where your business does not own you, you own your business. You just have to do it. And you might think your situation is different. I'm talking to the audience. Like, you might think your situation is different. I promise you it is not. There are millions of people that have come before you that have figured this out, right? They figured out how to delegate and elevate. They figured out how to afford that employee, whether it's a part-time person to start to grow into full-time, whether it's a 1099 independent contractor, whatever that might be. You've got to get some things off your plate. So focus on that. Like, what is the highest and best use of your time? And focus on that. That way you're going to be able to create more growth to be able to then hire more people and put those people in place. So,
and virtual assistants are huge too. If people aren't, haven't, and I know that's not for everyone, but that's been huge in our organization. Like I told you, the CRM thing, I was spending hours and hours and hours a week working on refining the CRM and automations and just all this stuff. Cause I was like, okay, well, no one else knows how to do it but me. And that's the biggest lie any operator can tell themselves. Right. And so I ended up finding a gentleman out of the Philippines who is an incredible go high level expert. And, I'm paying him what for him is a great salary for him. And for us, it's not a lot of money, and it's a great win-win for everyone. And now he's spending literally 40 hours a week working on my CRM because I just pass over all these random projects to him, and I don't have to worry about that anymore. And I can worry about the things that I need to be spending time on.
I love that. I just wrote that down because we have a go high level consultant that we work with here in the States. They're good, but we need more. Because I know we're missing out on opportunities because we just don't have certain things. So I'm going to look into that. I've had many people with virtual assistants, people that are, overseas. We have people now, video editors and things like that. What I see a lot of in the industry is that I believe that too many business owners are looking at VAs as like this magic, bullet, right? Like, oh, I don't have a capacity. I'll just hire a VA to do it. Well, that person also needs leadership, management, accountability, right? It comes back to leadership, right? I think too many business owners just hire a VA and just kind of like throw them right into the middle of things and don't spend the time and energy with them to develop them. And you're setting yourself up and you're setting that other person up for failure as well if you're doing that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you need someone in your team to literally handle VAs. Like, that's one of their tasks.
Yeah.
Now. And that's something I'm like literally about to add on our team is someone who can, like, one of the responsibilities is going to be handling, dealing with all the back and forth communication and training of the VAs.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we have a client in Texas, roofing company owner, shocker, roofing company owner in Texas. He's got a marketing team of 6 in the Philippines, and he is the owner, is like managing all of them. I'm like, dude, like you gotta hire like middle management there. He doesn't have the time to do it all. So again, leadership, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I've learned these lessons the hard way too. Like, and not to say I even have all this figured out, because I don't. And in fact, last year before RoofCon, I lost a key member of my organization 6 weeks before the show. And I literally said to myself, I don't have time to train anyone. I'm going to have to do this. And I don't know to this day if that was still a good decision, but I slept like 3 hours a night for the next 6 weeks before RoofCon and got it all done. And I think you and I talked about that at one of the lunches, because I had this chip on my shoulder and I was like, I'm going to make sure this all gets done. And I don't care if I have to do all of it. And I know so many people get into that situation, but that taught me such a big lesson of like, you didn't need to do all that. You could have delegated a ton of that stuff. And I think I just wanted a pat on the back to be able to say like, hey, look at all the things that I did. And there's no sort of reward or anything that was worth the sanity that I put myself through.
Yeah, I bet. I remember that. You're doing all the graphics yourself. And yeah, I mean, yeah, in retrospect, you could have taken one day, and I've been there and done that too, right? You could have taken one day to train someone and then had lunch with them once a week and they'd be good. I saw on Facebook this week, you're selling your house, and I was going to comment like, are you moving into the RoofCon office for conference season?
That's what I should do, probably. The funny thing about that is, like, I'm driving 2 hours a day right now because of crazy living, like just where we're located compared to where my wife works and where the kids go to school and everything else. So I'm about to move to where I'm 5 minutes away from everything, but I'm going to be working from home more often. So it just kind of goes back into the same thing of like, I'm going to have more time to actually work and actually do the things that are important to me instead of driving.
Yeah, I mean, that's good awareness, man. I mean, I used to commute an hour each way. That's one of the reasons I left that career. So I'm like, I can't spend 2 hours a day of my life like in a car. Like as many books on CD or Audible as I listened to, it just wasn't super productive,
Yeah,
Life's-
I'm wearing out my playlists. So,
Yeah. Cool, man. We got a few more minutes. What else you want to touch on? What do you want to make sure that you communicate to the audience in this episode?
That people need to sign up for Contractor Dynamics.
I'll put my commercial in later because you touched on that we teach marketing. So I'd like to insert.
I know y'all do way more stuff. I know y'all are doing cool stuff. In fact, I'm excited that we're going to be filming an episode of my podcast, and then we'll get to dig into some of the stuff y'all are doing. But I'm going to give you a shout out because you won an award at RoofCon, and you're not going to go brag about that. So talk to me about that. How was that experience for the people on your show?
Yeah, that was really cool. That was honestly, like, I had totally forgotten that was a thing. Cause like, we're exhibiting at RoofCon, we're running the booth, we're doing a breakout. Like there's a million different moving parts going on. And I was like totally not expecting that. It was super special. And I had Ben Menchaca's mom up there presenting the award. Yeah, that was a huge, huge honor. Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. I told John Cater, I was like, John, I need you to make sure that Joe is in the audience when we give out this award. And he made that happen. So
yeah, well, he's always got sneaky things going on. Like he's always got these ideas up his sleeve that are, creative ideas that I would never think of. And like, if he knows that if he tells these ideas to me, sometimes I'll dismiss them as like, yeah, no, we don't need to do that. So now he just doesn't tell me. And I have blind faith in him because usually, they end up being great ideas,
Well, we appreciate you, man. And obviously supporting us since the beginning, because there's very few people that did support us right in the beginning. So you were one of those people, and we appreciate that. And I know you're going to be doing a breakout session at RoofCon this year, so that'll be a good time. If you, as far as plugging anything else, like if you come to RoofCon, come to watch Joe do a breakout session there. We don't know what the topic's going to be yet, but
yeah, I don't even know if I'm going to be doing it. Maybe some other people on our team. I don't know. No, I love the community. I'm all about community, and we all go through the same things, right? We're all so many of us are, we're building businesses, whether we're entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs, or a lot of us are building families, we're trying to stay healthy. So like we're all on this journey together. So that's what I love about it.
One thing I appreciate too is the consistency with on your side too, to, doing all the workouts and that type of stuff. One of the things that I implemented last year on the team is my team has an hour a day to work out during work hours. So we're getting paid. I'm like, take advantage of it, because we have a gym here in the office and you can come in and work out during work hours. And that's awesome. Like, people love that about the people that work here, appreciate that so much, because they know they can just go work out. They just put it on their calendar, so that way they don't get calls during that time. And yeah, that's been huge too.
I love that, man. That's awesome. Yeah, there's no excuse, right? Because it's hard to squeeze it in sometimes with the family, driving an hour to work. Yeah, that's great. Good for you. All right, you got time for a lightning round of a few fun questions?
Let's do it.
All right, so this is designed to be just a quick lightning round. What's something about Hunter Ballou that no one knows?
Oh, that he screams in his sleep.
He screams in his sleep?
Yeah, he screams in his sleep. I've traveled the country with him. And every time, we used to go to these retreats and I would get bunked up in the same room. And one night, like, I was sleeping on the couch and I wake up from this, like, it sounded like I'm pretty sure he thought he was in war. Anyway, but yeah, he screams in his sleep and it's terrifying, and I feel terrible for his wife.
Wow. All right. That's a juicy one there.
Also, I'll say one more thing about Hunter, because he doesn't say this. In his book, Make It Count, there were 11 references to me in there. My name was dropped 11 times, and he dropped Maggie's name, his wife, 10 times. So, Maggie, if you're watching this, I don't know what to tell you, but he's got his priorities straight right there.
Oh, man. All right. We'll let the audience decide how they feel about that one. All right. Question number 2, your go-to meal at the Waffle House.
Oh, man. I always do 2 eggs breakfast with bacon. So eggs, scrambled with cheese, bacon, and then just some toast.
Nice.
So I'll keep it simple.
All right.
I don't get a waffle at Waffle House. That's the juicy detail there.
Trivia. Good trivia. All right. Here's a fun one. What's your message to the people on social media who dismiss all conferences as money grabs?
I would say that we literally have a free ticket option. We have a free ticket option for people to just come in, network, talk to the vendors. And one of the breakout rooms is literally going to be open this year, so you could even come and listen to content from that breakout room, because it's going to be more like hands-on training. So if you want to come in and get a ton out of RoofCon, you can do it for free. And maybe a lot of the other conferences are money grabs. And it does cost a buttload of money to put on a conference. Like, we don't turn a profit until after we've done $1.8 million in sales for the year. So that's my message.
Enough said.
Yeah.
All right. Final question. Money is not a factor. Who's your number one dream RoofCon keynote?
I would love to have David Goggins speak. He costs a lot of money. So Goggins would be a good one. I'd love to have someone like a Steve Harvey speak. Those are probably 2 of the people on my list that I have written down that, both of those are like $300,000 plus. So
yeah, I can imagine. Good choices. Love that. All right, Diego, man, I appreciate you sharing. Appreciate getting to catch up with you a little bit. I've learned some things. I've got some notes here, and we'll make sure that we get this out to the roofing industry and get some more, some of that inbound lead generation going, so you guys can fill up RoofCon, man.
Well, the fun thing is for me, like, I enjoy talking about sales and marketing, and when it comes to sales and marketing, I have nothing to sell you. So I'm like, just if you have questions, come up to me, talk to me about it. I'll give you all of my details, and I have nothing to sell you besides a RoofCon ticket. So
you sound like Hermosi. I got nothing to sell you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Diego, man. Great to catch up, brother. Hope you have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
All right, guys, there you have it. My conversation with Diego Dante of RoofCon. Click the link below. Head on over to roofcon.com to check out some of the options they have, including those free tickets that he was talking about, right? There's all different sorts of levels. We've been going to RoofCon as a company, Contractor Dynamics, since 2019. We're excited to be there this year in Orlando in October. So stop by the Contractor Dynamics booth. Stop by our breakout session. I look forward to sharing a conversation with you and maybe even a coffee or a meal at the conference.